All right, baby. We are live. Yes, we are, but we're going to let it breathe just for a moment. Bring in the Facebookers. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show. Lots to talk about and much to celebrate, in fact. Welcome in, everybody. It's the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, yesterday, the Denver Broncos officially became 2025 AFC West champions when the Chargers failed to get it done at home against the Texans. Give everybody your gut reaction to what has become the 16th AFC crown in team history and the first, of course, since 2015.
Well, about that game, the Chargers charged pretty hard as they always do, Chad. And I don't know that I want to face the Texans in the postseason, but we all have to celebrate what a momentous occasion this is. 3 years ago, almost to the day, Chad, the Broncos were getting blown out by the Rams on Christmas. They fired Hackett the next day. They were at rock bottom. 3 short years later, they're on top of the AFC West. They snatched it back from Kansas City. They're in control of the #1 seed. They're on the verge of making a deep postseason run. I give Sean Payton, it's been a little rocky with his play calling and the coaching, but I give Sean Payton all the credit in the world, Bo Nix all the credit in the world, the defense for the turnaround. It's remarkable. We should all be so happy right now.
I'm kind of viewing the season finale. I mean, well, before I say this, been getting a lot of questions, got them yesterday, all day today in social media about will the Chargers rest their starters, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't think so.
It ain't going to happen, guys. They are trying to preserve seeding and bolster seeding as best they can. So that being said, I'm viewing the season finale with the Broncos having still so much on the line as a little bit, Zach, of a litmus test relative to the playoffs. The Broncos with Peyton Nix, for whatever reason, have had this weird bugaboo with the Chargers. They haven't been able to beat them yet. Bo Nix talked about it after the game in Kansas City on Thursday. I haven't beat them yet, etc. How the Broncos play in that one, coming off a mini bye, and because it is, of course, the Chargers who are going to be motivated, I think will tell us a lot, Zach, about what we can expect from this team in the playoffs. Whether they end up winning the bye or not, we'll find out a lot.
And the Broncos, they also have this bugaboo of playing up or down to their level of competition, Chad. And the good thing about the Chargers game and the postseason is the competition is all upper. They're not going to play down, hopefully. So you're right. It'll be what they're made of kind of test for the Broncos coming off 2 uneven performances. And they still have a lot to prove despite wrapping up the division yesterday.
No doubt. How's it going, everybody? We got the Papa Bear in the house.
Thank
Good
you,
to see
David.
you, big dog. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Happy New Year, Broncos country. God bless the USA. 14-3, plus, 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 plus. We all know what it means. It's great to see you, pal. And yes, here in just a few short days, we're going to be out of 2025 and into 2026. Time flies. I hope everybody's had a phenomenal holiday season. Shout out to some members like Jordan Lewis, David Youngkin. Yeah, the Bills lose on a 2-point conversion. That was just a weird game. But once again, Josh Allen showed you that in the fourth quarter, even when it's not always pretty and actually perhaps even a little bit ugly, he is never going to stop. Like, he's going to keep coming at you. Jordan, do we know what time the game will be yet? Hasn't been announced. We'll let you know as soon as we do know that, guys, by the way. Cullen in the house, dude. What's up? Great to see one of our dear members saying the Chargers are pathetic. Ha ha. Theirs and the Jags 50 fans, very generous estimation, have become so insufferable. It sucks the Colts lost. Yeah, they were in it too. That one went all the way down pretty close to the wire. I was rooting for Phillip Rivers, Zach, but yeah, the Jags, they keep finding a way. I saw that Liam Cohen became the first head coach to win 12 games as a new head coach for a team that only won, was it 4 or 5 the year prior?
4 or less. Yeah.
4 or less the year prior. So he's done a hell of a job, but there's still something about them that's fool's goldy to me. And I can't quite put my finger on it, to be honest with you, because they have a great defense that can take the ball away. And that offense, as we saw against the Broncos, it ain't nothing. It can get after you.
I think that one thing, and I see a very, very generous super from Michaela, so I'll shut up. I think that one thing, Chad, if I could speak for you, I'll speak for myself, is Trevor Lawrence. He was supposed to be this
Yeah.
generational quarterback, and he's been okay and solid, but not generational by any means. And I think everyone is waiting for him to kind of crash back down to earth. I give them a ton of credit for how they played the Broncos, what they've done this season so far, but I'm not a full believer in Jacksonville quite yet.
We have checking in from the tippity top rope.
Thank you, Michaela.
The Duchess, Michaela Parker. I mean, I'm gonna. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Love you so much, Michaela. This is so generous, and man, I hope it means you've had a great year. You and your family. You've helped us to ensure that we've had a great year. So
Yes,
thank you
absolutely.
so much,
Yeah.
Michaela, from the bottom of our hearts. Hope it was a great Christmas. And you were one of the first people I thought of yesterday when the Texans officially slammed the door on the Chargers. I was like, yeah, just happy for you. She says, honestly, I don't think we are going anywhere unless we do a 180. One, the defense has been atrocious. On her point there, it's kind of atrocious, might be hyperbolic, Zach, but they're giving up since week 11 a touchdown more per game and 100 yards more per game. So make of that what you will. Two, she says the tackling's been terrible. Check. Running game needs a total fix. Check. And Bo needs to be much better and quit panicking. I only really saw that intermittently in this last game, maybe a little bit against the Chargers. 5, stop all the drops. If we don't fix this team, to fix these items, we will be one and done. Also, I think we will lose to the Chargers. So, Zach, despite the triumph of winning the division, Michaela has her doubts about this 2025 Broncos squad. What say you?
First of all, Michaela, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Chad's heart, Scott's heart, everyone around here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you so much for your continued support all year. You are truly amazing. I'll go point by point because you deserve it. I agree, atrocious considering it, relative, Chad, to the expectations they set before the bye week. They were elite. They look like the 2015 Wade Phillips defense, and they fell off a cliff pretty drastically. So I think considering with the way backup quarterbacks and this and that, Chris Ludekin, Marcus Mariota have marched down the field, I think atrocious is apt there. And because the tackling has been terrible, that leads also to believe that one would find them atrocious. The running game, I wouldn't put too much on RJ Harvey. It's tough losing the NFL's 5th leading rusher at the time in J.K. Dobbins. He's doing a pretty good job. Bo, though, this is the only point, Michaela, as Chad said, that I kind of disagree with. I don't see too much panic in him. He accounted for 14 of the Broncos' 20 points against Kansas City. I think he's matured as a pocket passer. I think he's actually seeing the field better, although the happy feet and the regression with his footwork in the pocket does pop up every now and then. So you're right. The drops, 1,000%. And you're right. If they don't fix these fundamental football 101 issues, the playoff run is going to be much shorter lived than we all want. But thank you so much again for your generous super.
The weird thing, Michaela, and maybe you can take heart from this a little bit. The weird thing is, regardless of all these warts, and I'm going to go ahead and just, since we can read it here, Michaela, love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela.
The weird thing is, all these warts, you did a good job laying them out. I mean, that's an article right there. 5 concerns entering the season finale, right? Boom, done. The thing is, though, Sean Payton this season has kind of proven that all those little issues, the wrinkles, the warts, whatever you want to call them, when it comes time for the game, they just find different weird ways to win because they are so solid and talented across the board. Like Quinn Miner said after the game, hey, our mindset mentality is see you in the fourth. Like it might not always be what you want to see in the first quarter, second quarter, heck, even the third quarter. Although the Broncos have done better, especially offensively, Zach, the last few weeks, scoring in the third quarter. But we'll see you in the fourth. And this team just has a weird resilience that I have come to trust, even in the face of some of these warts, as you're so aptly pointing to. And Sean Payton just seems to have it kind of figured out. I don't know what it is, combined with that quarterback connection he has with Bo Nix, Zach, and the defense, for the most part, coming up with the plays when they need to. I mean, there's really only one game you can point to where they didn't, and that's the Jaguars' loss. So I don't know. I'm not as I feel you on that, but there's just something about this team, man, that they're just a tough out on game day.
I just feel like, and you're right. I just feel like that when you're playing with fire and you don't get burned, that could work when you're facing the Jets or, Jackson Dart or Chris Aludikin. It's not going to avail you well in the postseason when you're facing much stiffer competition. And like we talked about earlier, the Broncos have a tendency to play down to their competition and play up. So hopefully when the playoffs start, we see a more complete product, but they can't keep skating by, Chad, with these major fundamental issues and expect to make a Super Bowl run. That's the expectation now, the Pat Bowlen standard. It's not just to win the division or make the playoffs. We want a Lombardi, and they're not going to win one if they keep dropping passes and missing tackles.
I mean, you look at like today, the Eagles, right? Like I watched most of that Eagles-Bills game. And, at a lot of points, Tom Brady was kind of glazing the Eagles, talking about just, the great teams. They concede nothing when they block that field goal late in the game and all that stuff. And, if you look at that Eagles performance today, just as one, obviously it's not completely emblematic of their entire season, but Zach, it was a phenomenal defensive performance. Offensively, it's pretty ugly. So I bet there are a lot of Eagles fans out there, even though the press talks more about the Eagles like, the way that you would talk about a defending Super Bowl champion. I bet there are a lot of fans out there a little bit concerned that the offense was as kind of, how many 3-and-outs did the Eagles have today? It was pretty gnarly. So my point is, it's hard to be a perfect juggernaut this deep into the season, but the Broncos, the Eagles, teams like that, they just keep finding a way. Although obviously, Zach, the Eagles are a lot more battle tested relative to the playoffs, etc. We'll continue talking about this, Michaela, as the show goes on. Shannon Mills, the ladies of MHH, showing out so far. Shannon saying, "Good evening. A weird day of football. I don't want to hear any fraud talk anymore. Looked like a lot of frauds this weekend with all those close games." Yeah, I mean, you can't call them a fraud. They're 13-3, Zach, and they are officially the AFC West champions, pardon me. They have dethroned the Kansas City Chiefs. And, hey, the Chiefs kind of fell off a cliff this year, Zach, but the Broncos, let's face it, kind of helped them, right? Week 11, they're battling for their lives, got to win the Chiefs. Broncos handed them a loss at full strength. And, of course, last game was meaningless relative to their season, but still, Broncos did contribute to the demise of the Chiefs this season, and then they took care of business on their end of the street.
You know how I know they're not frauds, Shannon? And thank you so much. People don't pay attention to the recent Broncos history only this season. They're calling them the biggest, the fraudulent 13-3 team, fraudulent number 1 seed. But look at the improvement in the last couple of years compared to where it was a decade ago, compared to where it was in 2022. Since Sean Payton arrived, they went 8-9, then 10-7. Now they're 13-3. That's how I know they're heading in the right direction. That's how I know Sean Payton is building a winner. So they can say what they want, they can talk, and they're going to keep doing that, even if the Broncos win the Lombardi. But we don't care. We all know the truth about them. Let them hate. But thank you so much for your super.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. Really good to see you tonight. We also have Sam Bam checking in off the top rope. Thank you, brother. Great to see you. Appreciate your continued support and what you mean to the community, big dog. He says, "Evening, guys. The Broncos are AFC West champions. How awesome is it that you guys get to say the Broncos are division champs while podcasting together?" I know it's been a long time. This is a historic podcast. Now let's get the 1 seed and not play another non-Denver game until February in Santa Clara. But still, that's Denver's house, dude. Levi Stadium belongs to the Broncos, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's 10 years to the last Super Bowl the Broncos were in when they defeated Cam Newton in Santa Clara. But you're absolutely right. I don't think there's any team that would benefit from having home field advantage more, the number 1 seed more than the Broncos, considering the advantage they have of playing at Empower Field at Mile High. So it is absolutely, though, amazing to be podcasting with Chad, celebrating the division title. I think the word, though, right now is surreal. I can't believe, again, 3 years ago where they were getting roasted by SpongeBob and getting blown out by the lowly Rams to now 13-3. AFC West champions. It's surreal, Sam. Thank you so much.
But, I keep thinking about the fraud talk. I keep thinking about like what Michaela was bringing up with her 5 concerns and all that, and the 180 required. I don't know. That's why I'm telling you guys, this Charger game, it's going to feel like the playoffs. just because what's on the table for the Broncos and what's on the table for the Chargers in all likelihood. I'm not 100% aware yet, Zach, of all the math and stuff in terms of who needs to win what for seeding this, that, or the other. But I'm telling you, the Chargers are going to have plenty on the line. And so this is going to be a nice little litmus test. The Broncos have already clinched a playoff berth. How they perform, do they get out there and just get on the Chargers, so to speak, get after them? Or is it another one of these kind of back and forth, failure to launch early on, and then they got a storm back in the second, get close but no cigar? I mean, you look at the Chargers, Zach, they have a great defense. It's a very good defense, I will say. And Justin Herbert, man, he just has a knack for making plays, especially against this Broncos team. So I view it as a little bit of an acid test. And I think, Michaela, if the Broncos come in, and also Shannon, who's coming at it from a different angle, obviously, but if the Broncos handle their business with even a modicum, Zach, of authority in the finale, it's going to be a great, I think it portends well for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it should be noted that the Broncos obviously did not clinch the number 1 seed today by virtue of the Patriots winning and a couple other scenarios that had a break right. It was never going to happen, but the Broncos, as we know, did clinch the AFC West. They can clinch the number 1 seed next week. That game time and day is still TBD, but they can clinch the number 1 seed by defeating the Chargers. The Chargers, though, will have a lot to play for. They can go from the 5 to the 7th seed, depending on how the other games shake out. So to anyone wondering if they're going to rest their starters, like Chad said earlier, absolutely not.
All right, guys, we got a lot more that we're going to be getting to, but listen up. We got the playoffs almost here. One regular season game left in the NFL, and Underdog remains the best place to get in on all that action. Get in off the bench into the game by heading over to Underdog, downloading the app. By the way, it's not just football, whether you're into basketball as well, hockey, any sport in between. Underdog is the best place to get in on all that action, and that's all season long.
That's right. Playing an Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks correct, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash.
So much fun, guys, playing Underdog, and the opportunity to win money while watching football or any other sport is just slam dunk. It's a touchdown. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with our promo code MHuddle, and you will score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's our promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Zach, I just saw a statistic before we grab our dear friend here, Naj, that Caleb Williams' 6 fourth-quarter comebacks are the most in the NFL this season. You think he has more than Bo or is tied with Bo?
I thought he had less than Bo. I thought Bo had more, but I guess he's tied.
Hold on. How many? Stand by. Does Bo have?
Every game was a fourth-quarter comeback this year.
It's what it's basically been. It says as of, I'll come back to that. Let's grab Naj. Don't want to keep him waiting too long. Love you, bro. He says, hey, brothers, I think we need to embrace the reality that this team winning a Super Bowl will come ugly, and that's okay. We'll take it. We have the blueprint, which I believe is how they played the Chiefs. Dominate time of possession. Yeah, I mean, how they've had some really – lately they've been much better, Zach, at staying on the field, those long drives that – you have to be better on third down in order to stay on the field as long as the Broncos have been. And again, that Chiefs defense, guys, was playing its ass off. Like it was their last home game in front of the fans this year. It could be Kelsey's last game. It's also the Broncos, etc. They were playing with their dander up. You got to be better on third down, and the Broncos have been better on third down. But to succeed on third down too, Zach, a little bit more efficient on first and second, etc. It all kind of goes together. They've taken some steps there. The big bugaboo, I think that's the second time I've used the word tonight, but the big hole in the boat against the Chiefs, and what kept it from being the big multi-score blowout that it probably should have been, was they didn't punch it in the red zone the way they should have. They had these big, long 14-play, 8-minute drives, and on 2 of them, they got stymied inside the 20 instead of punching it in. And one of them, for sure, Zach, should have been a touchdown when Courtland didn't come down with that one that, kind of a tough situation, hit by 2 guys, but goes down as a drop.
Yeah, very good point there, Chad. Naj, I don't care if the Broncos win every playoff game and the Super Bowl 2-0. I don't care if it's the ugliest brand of football you have ever seen. If they hoist that Lombardi trophy, Sean Payton and Bo Nix, it'll make everything obviously absolutely, unbelievable to the truest extent. But you're right there. They have to stay on the field. They have to move the chains, as Chad was talking about, keep out of 3rd and long. And it's surprising that they lagged in the red zone, Chad, because they've been fairly solid in the red zone, converting into touchdowns this season. But it all stems from the fundamentals: blocking up front, getting the running game going, not turning the football over, and not settling for field goals. But thank you for the super, Naj.
Yeah, brother. And by the way, Naj, 2015 wasn't all that pretty, was it? You had an aging quarterback, missed half the season. Defense had to make a lot of plays to keep you in the game, so to speak. They weren't exactly blowing the doors down in the playoffs. There was a reason why the Panthers were so favored in the Super Bowl. But the Broncos just improbably continued, kind of like what this team's mantra is this season: find weird ways to get her done. Tucson Phil in the house. By the way, to answer the question, according to Pro Football Reference, Zach, Bo has 8 career fourth quarter comebacks, 9 game-winning drives, 6 of his 8 fourth quarter comebacks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have come in 2025. So on one hand, you can say Caleb Williams leads the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks, but co-leads would be the more accurate way. Phil says, good evening, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. I feel like this game against the Chargers is going to be a great test for us. This is a playoff game, in my opinion. We need a complete win. No penalties, no drops, a run game, and special teams stands up. Buckham, MHH for life, Broncos for life. Well, that was another thing, Zach, that allowed the Chiefs to hang around last week without their first string quarterback or their second string quarterback. Was a special teams snafu, which also happened the last time we were at Kansas City, just in a different way. That whatever it was, 40-something yard punt return that set up Oludekun in Broncos territory and led to 3 of their 10 points. So, yeah, give us a game where the defense tackles, there's no flub ups on special teams, and I think Bo Nix and company has gotten to a point, Zach, where they can get her done.
And if they play like that, Phil, they can beat anyone in the NFL, as they've proven. If they can play like they did against the Packers on offense and defense, they can beat anyone in the NFL. And we have to hope we see that brand of the Broncos going forward, not this other Jekyll and Hyde nonsense.
David Youngkin jumping in. Thank you, bro. He says the inconsistency is the makeup of this team.
Yeah, all year.
It's part of the tapestry, and it's why the national press at large refuses to kind of give the Broncos their just reward. They're not glazing them as some people are. Some people are celebrating Sean Payton achieving what he has, Bo Nix, etc. But that inconsistency was why there's still, Zach, an utter throng of unbelievers out there. And not all of that unbelief, Zach, by the way, is due to the age-old Bronco bias. It's because the Broncos are kind of hard to understand if you're watching from outside and you're not there on every single night listening to what they say, watching what they do. If you're just going by the box score and watching the highlights and whatnot, I understand, Zach, why people are like, man, this is a team that's competing for the 1 seed. But you look over at the Patriots and they're a juggernaut, 42-10 today. They did what you're supposed to do against a team like the Jets. The Broncos were supposed to do that to the freaking Chiefs and barely won by a touchdown. This is the rationale. I do understand it, even if I disagree with it.
And who are the Broncos led by? Sean Payton, who it seems like every Broncos fan can't stand, and Bo Nix, who a lot of people had disparaging comments to make about coming out of the draft. And that was, I put a tweet out earlier, Chad, about the same thing. It was, he's never going to succeed in the NFL. He won't be a first-round pick. He won't win a playoff game. He won't win the division. Keep moving the goalposts because he'll keep clearing them. And that's how this Broncos team will continue to be. If you count them out, they'll fight right back.
Hold on. Scott's bringing it up for me. I'm double checking here. Okay, yeah, we just want 2025 go. Yep. No, fourth quarter comebacks. I'll look at it in a second. It arranged them all time for whatever reason. Scott, thank you for trying to help me, though. Maybe I'm missing something. Inconsistency. Yes, indeed, brother. Yes, indeed. It's just part of things. Michaela jumping in again saying, what the playoff teams have in common is they all run the ball well. We don't. So we're stuck depending on Bo's inaccurate performance. He is either hot or cold, and you can't win in the playoffs like that. Yeah, I mean, again, I hate to keep going back to 2015, but that offense was about as average as it gets. They did start running the ball, if memory serves, a little bit better down the stretch and into the playoffs, but I don't remember CJ Anderson and Ronnie Hillman, God rest his soul, dominating on the ground. That was just a team that had that strange knack to just find a way. And by the way, you can't minimize the fact that they got a Hall of Fame quarterback back in the saddle in the season finale. And even though he was a shell of his former self physically, he still had that big football brain. And that helped the Broncos out a lot, obviously, in those 2 playoff games against Pittsburgh and New England. But even his very first drive returning, Zach, from his plantar fascia tear that had kept him out of, I think it was 7 games, they bring him in the third quarter, and right out of the gates, it was a crucial third down, and he goes up. They're gonna run a passing play. He sees how the defense is lined up, calls an audible for a CJ Anderson run right into the weakness of the defense, move the chains. CJ Anderson and they ended up going down and scoring on that drive where they had not been able to really score up to that point before Osweiler got benched. And even CJ was asked after that game. I know this is a little bit of an aside here. Sorry. I'll tie it up right here. After the game, CJ was like, he was asked, so what was it like getting Peyton Manning back out there, after all these weeks and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, man, whatever he's going through physically and the injury, that's one thing, but that brain of his, and he's the one that revealed how Peyton had checked to the play. And he kept doing that, playing checkers against that defense, which redounded to the Broncos' success. And so they just found different ways, Zach. And I see that kind of similar thread here with the 2025 Broncos, though I am not saying Michaela in any stretch is wrong to have some doubts.
Michaela, thank you so much for the super again. I'll meet you halfway again. I agree that the Broncos are hot and cold. I agree they're inconsistent. I've been saying it all year, the Jekyll and Hyde, the manicness of them. But it's not just Bo. It's the entire team is up and down. There's rare occasions where the rest of the team is firing on all cylinders and Bo Nix is just pulling a Nathan Peterman. Usually it's the other way around. Bo Nix is the only one trying and the rest of the team around him is falling apart. I saw some of that against Kansas City. Bo was out there busting his ass and scoring touchdowns, and the rest of the team, the defense especially, was letting a third-string quarterback march right down the field. You're right. They could not be inconsistent. They have to be more reliable for Bo on offense. They have to tackle on defense, the fundamentals, and they're not going to win the playoffs very much if they continue to be, as you said there. Thank you for the super again.
This is also, we got to remember, he's a second-year quarterback too, and going through however this playoff season unfolds for the Broncos and resolves, Bo Nix is going to learn a lot, whether it ends in triumph or disappointment in some form. If the Broncos get sent home, he's going to learn more and more from that. He's still so young, guys. Like, he is here for a long time, and what we're experiencing in 2025, in fact, what we started experiencing in 2024, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So Sam Bam jumping in again. Also, how did everyone's fantasy teams finish up? I don't think Zach wants to talk about it.
Yeah, I went 7-7, Sam, really quickly. I had injuries. I had Bucky Irving, Malik Neighbors. They missed most of the season and all of the season in Malik Neighbors' case. It wasn't great. So better luck next year. Hopefully you did better. He
says, I got absolutely destroyed in my championship matchup this week.
Should have read.
Worse than the Broncos 43-8 Super Bowl. Had to play against Derrick Henry. LOL.
Ouch. That's tough.
LOL,
man.
Indeed. That's what
fantasy is. It's not even skill, Sam. It's mostly luck. I mean, there's skill in knowing the players and assembling your roster, but other than that, it's all luck. I feel bad for you, man.
Lawrence jumping in. Good to see you, pal. What's up? Who's watching the Niners? I got it on. It's on mute, but I'm just kind of glancing up here and there. potentially a team we will be playing in the Super Bowl if we make it, knock on wood. I don't know, Zach. I mean, this is Broncos country only, right? Big Earn.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's out there, but the Niners, it's looking like it's probably going to be the Seahawks in the NFC West. Although, what's their season finale? Head to head.
Yep. That's going to be for all the marbles, I think, in the NFC West. And Lawrence, you're right to bring this up. A lot of people are counting out the Niners, or at least not talking about them as legit contenders. What I saw from Brock Purdy last week, he threw for, I think, 5 touchdowns. He's a really damn good quarterback that gets a lot of hate, just like Bo Nix. Their defense is playing up to par despite a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball. Of course, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. They are lurking in the NFC, although I don't know if we're going to meet them in the Super Bowl. We'll see on that.
Yeah, we shall see. Thank you, Lawrence. It's good to see you. I'm just taking a quick look here at the playoff picture as updated after today's action. So here's your official seeding right now with 1 game left to go. Broncos at 1, Patriots at 2, Jags at 3. In the hunt, undecided, the 4 seed, which is either going to be the Steelers or the Ravens, as decided next week. And then the 5 seed is the Texans. The Chargers are 6. The Bills are 7. And the Ravens are they're the last team basically, Zach, on the bubble is the Ravens. So how crazy would it be if somehow the Ravens end up winning their division in the face of everything that team's been through this year?
Well, because the Steelers choked it against the Browns with the division on the line, it sets up the Ravens versus Pittsburgh for the AFC North crown next week, Chad. Week 18 is going to be freaking wild, man. I can't wait.
It is, man. And that's why you look at so many of these games, I'm not as confident, Zach, that are division deciding games and stuff. I'm not as confident that Broncos-Chargers is going to get flexed, but we'll find out. We'll find out
right there
soon.
with you, yeah. I think it'll be afternoon game.
By the way, Scott found the correct statistical display for the whole fourth quarter comebacks thing this season. Mine that I found was factoring in also the game-winning drives. So it is, in fact, true. Caleb Williams, according to Pro Football Reference, has 6 fourth-quarter comebacks this year, 1 more than Bo's 5, for what it's worth, Zach.
Both things can be true. I think there's always the argument, who's better? Who would you take, Bo Nix or Caleb Williams? Both are playing terrific football this season, and we'll see if they end up meeting, Chad, when it's all said and done.
Proud Zennial, our good buddy Ian, still rocking his Bridge the Gap. Chad meets Ian and hangs out and does punk rock music in Phoenix area. Profile pic. Love it, dude. It is nice being relaxed a little bit on a Sunday, but I'm not going to lie. I do kind of miss having a Bronco game to talk about today, but we got it early and it was a Christmas gift that delivered the AFC West champion crown, so to speak. Because like yesterday, people are like, oh, thank you, Houston. No, thank the Broncos. The Broncos did the work. You know, the Broncos won 13 games. Thank you, Broncos, for winning the AFC West.
It has been nice having a stress-free Sunday, especially for the old sphincter, Chad. That I will say.
For the old what?
The old sphincter.
I thought that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
We'll keep it PG.
Fully. Chris, dear member, says need to mix up the play calls on first down. Sean calls the same run play with RJ, 1 yard, 0 yards, more often than not. Throw or use McLaughlin or roll Bo Nix out. What I would like to see, Zach, is I know they're trying to turn RJ into bell cow, you know, Peyton's version of bell cow. Peyton's version of bell cow. But I want to see with how well he's been running and seeing things, Zach, I would like to see a few more totes going Jalil's way, even though I know that would mean at the expense of RJ in terms of touch share, but I think it would redound to the Broncos' benefit.
It seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that every time Tyler Bidet is on the field, whether he's a runner or a pass catcher or a blocker, nothing good ever happens. And it might be just anecdotal on my part, but I'm right there with you. And it seems like on the opposite end, when Jalil gets the ball, he's making yards and making things happen. So I know for whatever reason, McLaughlin is buried in Sean Payton's doghouse, or first getting out now, but I do want to see more work for him going forward. I agree.
BNS checking in, an OG superstar. Dating back many, many years. And a dear member says, didn't Bo beat the mighty Texans? Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, in fact, he's the last. Broncos are the last team to beat the Texans, and people go, "Oh yeah, well, they didn't have C.J. Stroud for half that game." I'm sorry, guys, if you paid attention at all to not only how Stroud and Davis Mills were playing in that game, but how the quarterback and the offense performed sans Stroud for that next few weeks, and then since Stroud has returned, they were better with Mills, especially against the Broncos. All right, remove everything I just said about the post-Bronco game when C.J. Stroud spent that, whatever it was, 3 weeks on in concussion protocol. The Broncos had a much harder time handling the Mills-led Texans offense that day than the Stroud version, for what it's worth. And Bo Nix, again, just found ways in the second half to get it done. RJ scored on a wheel route. I mean, it was good stuff.
That's all cope from Texans fans. Because, as you said, Davis Mills was performing better at the time. C.J. Stroud has come along recently, but it wasn't the Texans' offense that blew the game. It was the mighty Texans' defense that let Bo Nix scramble for the big game to set him up for the game-winning field goal. So, yes, Bo Nix and the Broncos did defeat Houston.
Man, sorry, guys. I'm dealing with a little bit of a cold. Dennis jumping in, a dear member saying the 5,280-pound gorilla no one's talking about is the fact that Sean Payton has never beat the Chargers as a Broncos head coach. That's not true. That's not true. He beat them in 2023. He has not beat them since Jim Harbaugh arrived as head coach. That's true. And I would agree with you that they have become the 800-pound gorilla, so to speak, the 5,280-pound gorilla that the Broncos need to vanquish. In order to enter this playoff run, Zach, kind of free of baggage as the fully deserving AFC West champs, you can't be swept by the Chargers. Like, you got to win this game. I think there's a lot of symbolism to this Week 18 throwdown against the Chargers, and a big part of that symbolism is Bo Nix and Sean Payton as a tandem are 0-3 against the Chargers, but they did get a win in Sean Payton's first year when Russ was here.
It is the I don't know, the cloud in the room for sure, Dennis. The Broncos have not vanquished the Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert led Chargers outfit yet. Although I have confidence that streak will be coming to an end this coming week.
Yeah, I'm just reminding myself real quick. Yeah, they swept the Chargers in his first year, 2-0.
For a while, the Chargers were the only team the Broncos could beat in the West, Chad.
Literally for 3 or 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you had ongoing coinciding winning streaks. Well, let's call them losing streaks to the Chiefs and the Raiders. We all know the Chiefs went 16 games. Can you guys remember how long the Raiders went? Most of it was Chucky. But unfortunately,
7.
as much as I hate to say it, it just galls me. Josh McDaniels is undefeated against the Broncos as head coach of the Raiders. I hate saying that. Lawrence, I finally caved on holding out on the Bo Nix jersey. He finally won my heart over. Mr.
Thad Castle himself.
What does that mean? What's a Thad Castle? That's cool, though. Good for you, pal. Phil says, guys, what is the story on Cody Schrader and Sam Mustipher? Well, Zach, the Broncos, when they placed Luke Wattenberg on injured reserve, they needed another backup center. So they brought back a familiar face. You can talk more about that in Sam Mustipher. And then as part of the roster shuffling of that move, Schrader was waived on Christmas. He passed through, re-signed to the practice squad. So he stays in the fold. But what background do you want to give Phil?
Mustipher is a good depth guy to have, like a good swing option to have along the interior. He's basically a pure center who had a cup of coffee, as Chad mentioned, with the Broncos in 2024. I think he's appeared in a bunch of games over the course of the last few seasons. He's been a journeyman, just depth along the offensive line while Wattenberg is out. He'll be backing up Forsythe on game day. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Forsythe doesn't get hurt.
Hold on, I'm reading something from Mr. Producer. No kidding. I didn't know that about the Giants. Interesting. And the New York Giants were 0-3 against the last 3 teams they beat for a Super Bowl in 2007. Things change. That is interesting. Let's hope that changes this coming week. Broncos-Chargers. Boot boy, the chaos Josh, take the 60 bus downtown Denver because he's on his way to watch a Super Bowl parade. Let's hope something like that. Rancid reference. Let's go. Expectations, Josh says, need to match reality. This team is who they are. Solid defense, subpar run game, great second-year quarterback. Our floor, though, he's saying, what are you talking about, Super Bowl? Is a tough one-score win team at 13-3, AFC West champs. Can it win the Super Bowl? We'll see. Oh, yeah, dude. Let's talk about this. Who in the AFC genuinely, like when you think about how they match up, genuinely causes you, I'm going to bring up that rested sphincter of yours, causes some puckering, Zach?
Yeah. Houston, we just talked about, Chad. Their defense is legit, and as I mentioned, CJ Stroud since that game has been playing really solid football. They're on a heater right now. So Houston, I don't necessarily want to face. I don't know that I want to face Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry if they manage to win the AFC North and sneak into the postseason, just because they put a walloping on Denver last year. Josh Allen, I'm not totally scared, but he's the most experienced quarterback in the playoff field this year in the AFC. So I don't know. I'm not truly terrified of anyone. There's other teams I'd rather face more than others, but give me New England in round one, or give me another team. Give me Pittsburgh. I'll take that.
I don't know what it is, man. I think it has something to do with what we saw in week 9. But the Texans, I respect them. And in that sense, you could say I fear them. But they don't really worry me much if the Broncos drew them in the playoffs. Again, the Chargers actually would worry me a little bit more just because Justin Herbert has that knack, man, against this defense. He's proven it in each of the last 3 games. So, that, again, week 18 is going to be very emblematic for me. But I don't know. The Patriots, Zach, for whatever reason, still to me, they don't scare me. Maybe they should, though, because, I mean, yeah, it was the Jets today, but Zach, 42-10. I mean, Star Wars numbers for Drake May, basically week in and week out, regardless of the opponent. Like Josh McDaniels, gum him, has that quarterback playing at an MVP level. So that would be an interesting matchup if it ends up coming to fruition at some point in the playoffs. But a lot of people are having some misgivings, Zach, about how the Broncos are going to fare in the postseason. And that's why I'm saying, guys, you're going to learn and know a lot more about this team relative to playoffs, how it plays in week 18. But at the same time, it's a whole new season. The tournament represents a whole new season. Cullen, watch the Elway doc. Incredible. Zach, have you watched it yet?
Yeah, it was incredible. Absolutely. I could have watched another 10 hours of that, Chad.
What did you make of that slow-mo from the back end zone of the helicopter? Isn't that dope?
Bro, I had chills when you just bring it up. It was amazing.
And when I talked to the director, he's like, we were trying to decide, do we have voiceover, a radio call during that section? But I just felt like it just needed to be music. And the music they chose for that, as he's going slow-mo from an angle you've never seen before. I'm telling you, you've never seen that angle of the helicopter. It just, it'll light you up and it'll get you feeling verklempt a little bit, like you're wanting to boob. But yeah, I loved it. And then there's some people who have said that it wasn't comprehensive enough in terms of covering all of Elway's exploits in high school, the baseball stuff, the Darryl Strawberry stuff, and some other things. But I don't think that was the entire purpose of this particular doc. I think it was more centered around kind of how and why Elway was the maniacal win or go home guy. Like winning was so important to him, and you learn about that. Not only that, Zach, but a lot of people, they might know that his father died in the intervening years after Super Bowl 33, but man, he went through some real personal life hell after, people go, he rode off into the sunset, because people now they use that to describe, they're going to win maybe he'll get a chance to, end his career like Elway, win it all and ride off into the sunset, which Peyton Manning did get to do, not as a back-to-back champ, but Elway, after being blessed thusly, Zach, by the football gods, it was like they knew we gotta the wheel of karma. We gotta front load this thing with some good stuff because it's about to get real dark for you. And he ends up losing his dad, his twin sister, and his marriage, the mother of his children, in the few years after that Super Bowl.
I agree with this comment here from Mr. Mile High Steven Steele. Elway could have been a mini series. Yeah, I mean, again, I was hooked from the opening minute, and the director, Chad, to his credit, did a great job. I thought it was comprehensive enough.
Last thing, how about that last shot, dude, when he walks down to his dock and he just sits on the steps and then the drone shot just like takes you out? It's so dope, dude.
Yeah.
It's great, guys. If you haven't watched it, I mean, very few people. I was shocked the other night. I stood in for Eric on Dove Valley Deep Divers, and the documentary came up, and I was gushing about it, of course. And I'm like, Lance, you've seen it, right? And he's like, I don't have a Netflix account. I'm like, dude, who doesn't have a Netflix account in today's day and age? But I guess there are folks out there who don't have it. So I said, Lance, you can use my Netflix account. You got to watch this thing.
Come on, Lance. It's 2025, man. It's gonna get a Netflix account.
All right, where are we at? We're at 45 minutes. We're doing pretty good, guys. All right, let me see what's on everybody's mind here in the chat. We kind of went off for a second on the Elway doc. Shannon jumping in again. She says that camera angle of the helicopter was epic. The coverage of Elway's winning mindset was phenomenal. Yeah, dude. It's so cool, man. So cool. And the way his late sister, twin sister, described it was growing up as the children of Coach, right? So Coach's kids, winning became so important because, yeah, hey, if dad lost, whether he was coaching high school or mostly it was college, if he lost, it was going to be kind of walking on eggshells that week. Dad's in a bad mood or whatever. Yeah. But more so, if they lost enough, they'd have to pick up stakes and move. And as somebody who moved around a lot when I was a kid, like I started, what is it? So from first grade to seventh grade, first grade to eighth grade, I didn't start and finish in the same school year or the same school in the same year, right? So I'd start the school year in one city or school and then finish in another, et cetera, from first grade through. And it wears on you. It definitely hones your social skills. I will tell you that, constantly being the new kid. But she goes on to explain, Zach, that, so obviously winning and losing became very important to us. And boy, oh boy, to me, that really kind of draw things into focus relative to the old Elway mandate of winning.
Yeah, Shannon, thank you so much for the super. I don't understand. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion about the documentary. I'm not saying this because MHH had an interview with the director. I thought it was extremely well done. The cinematography, the storytelling. You can't fit every single detail into a finite amount of minutes or a finite documentary, but I thought for what they did was remarkable.
There's even that funny moment. There's a few funny moments, Zach, but that one moment where his ex-wife and they're kind of recounting how they met in their courtship and how they hit teeth when they kissed the first time because they both kind of have big teeth, etc. It's kind of funny.
Self-deprecation goes a long way to me.
It does, dude. It does. So anyway, thank you, Shannon. Colin jumping in again, bringing it back to today's topic of the Broncos. To be honest, he says, I'm not scared of anyone. You don't win 11 in a row by accident, and not at all against cupcake teams like the media paints it. And I wish the doc was a miniseries. Would have liked to see the GM years. Yeah, that's the only thing is, it's almost as if talking to the director that maybe they weren't going to touch much on the GM years, but they did. And it's pretty kind of short and sweet. He talks about his opportunity to come back to the game and how coming back to the Broncos as a GM actually kind of helped him, Zach, get over all that bad stuff that had happened in his life after Super Bowl 33. But anyway, let's bring it back to this topic here, not being scared of anyone. You don't win 11 in a row by accident. That's for sure.
Well, Cullen, I'm not hiding under my bed or chomping on my fingernails. I'm not scared of anyone either, but there's certain teams that I'd rather play more than others, certain teams that match up with the Broncos better than other teams. The Texans, we can disagree, Chad and I don't know. Based on the way they're playing, their offense, their quick strike with their receivers, their defense is very hard-nosed. Same thing for the Chargers. That's why they beat the Broncos earlier this season. I think, though, I'm not going to take a cop-out, but what Chad said earlier is true. We'll know a lot more about this Broncos team. We'll have a better answer to this question after next week's game. We'll know what this team is really made of.
No doubt. No doubt. Colin, thank you, buddy, for the support and contributing to the conversation the way that you do, big dog. Means the world to us. And by the way, guys, have you joined the MHH Discord? Because it is rocking and rolling, having a lot of fun. And there are a few key names in our community, some key superstars, some key members who I have yet to see pop up. So I'm going to drop it. It's always in the description of each and every stream, this video, but I'm dropping the link here in the chat. Come join. It's free. And we're hanging out there. We're talking Broncos basically 24/7. And I also want to shout out Mblex, who's been very helpful in helping not only get it launched for us, but helping to kind of preside over it in the intervening moments when I'm not always available. So thank you, buddy. And he says, by the way, every team coached by Peyton who has had a bye in the playoffs has reached the championship game. I was not aware of that, Zach.
I was not either. That's very interesting, test prep, and well, hopefully history repeats itself once more. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's encouraging. That's encouraging. Todd says Greenlaw can come back for the playoffs. He is, exactly. He's not on IR. We hope to know a little bit more about Greenlaw's true outlook.
Yeah,
it makes me wonder, Zach, he missed the Chiefs game after suffering a hammy late against the Jags. If they were playing on Sunday instead of Thursday this week, do you think he still misses? I don't know, but
misses. Yeah.
Hopefully he's back practicing again on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's coming off the Achilles as well. Then he had the quad, Chad. This is a guy who had a major injury jacket before he signed with the Broncos, and now he's gotten hurt twice with the Broncos and also suspended for a game as well. We all want Dre out there, but we don't know. Considering how Sean managed the quad injury and kept us all in the dark for so long, Chad, we don't know when he's going to be back, but he was not placed on IR. We have to hope that he'll be back maybe around when Wattenberg returns past the divisional round.
We got Albert jumping in with some confidence saying the Broncos will win that bye, that first round bye, meaning they're going to get the 1 seed by beating the Chargers. I love it, dude. I love it. And by the way, Mblex fears nothing except scorpions. Bo Nix fears nothing, Zach, except dogs.
What? Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
What the heck was that about, bro?
Yeah, I didn't. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Everyone has different experiences growing up with dogs. I think he said he was bitten once super early on when he was young, and he kind of just got apprehensive toward him. But come on, man. They're dogs. Man's best friend.
I am a big-time dog person. Same. I have 3 dogs, all right? Always have had a dog my whole life, so I don't really relate. However, and some people, Zach, are cat people. Some people are dog, some people are both. Like I have 3 dogs. And we have 3 cats. All right. Now, they're not all indoor. The cats are not always indoor, depending on the season. They like to be outside and stuff, chasing mice where I live. But some people have those experiences with dogs. Like,
yeah,
I have a very dear friend, for example, and I can't imagine what I'm about to tell you, how his daughter might view dogs from here on out, because his missus was walking a dog that she was helping a neighbor walking a dog who was the neighbors were out of town. So she was helping out and, walking the dog for them while they were gone or something like that. And they walked by another neighbor's house, and this dog, I can't remember the breed, doesn't really matter, but it was a bigger dog that she had also babysat at times for this other neighbor, whatever. So she stopped by to say hi to the neighbor who was out in his yard, and his dog was out there too. And she had her little daughter who was like 4 or 5 next to her. And she's like, oh, hi. And out of the blue, that dog just like attacked her, went to her face, had to have gnarly multiple stitches. I mean, really bad stuff that I won't say anything more about because it's so freaking sad. But that little girl witnessed the whole thing. Is that little girl going to maybe not have a thing for dogs growing up? Wouldn't shock me. Now, maybe it wasn't quite as gruesome and gnarly for Bo, whatever his experience was. But, I mean, I at least can understand it, even though, I mean, I've been bitten by dogs. I don't know about you, Zach.
I'm right there with you. I've had dogs my whole life. I'm a huge animal lover, Chad. Dogs, cats, I don't really care what they are. It's kind of like when someone tells you that they hate ice cream, and you can't fathom that someone can hate ice cream. But for people like us, it's unfathomable. But other people have their own predilections, and Bo Nix is one of them.
And little peccadillos and phobias and fears, and that's kind of interesting. But let's see what Siriaco Siriaco. Thank you for being a member, my brother. Says, I'll take any team. The Broncos are going to rev it up in the playoffs. I can feel it. They are so focused on that goal to win it all. I mean, Sean Payton, Zach, he spoke it into existence with what he said back in July. And it's kind of been interesting seeing the league somewhat over the last 24 hours with the Broncos officially being AFC West champs, Zach, kind of beginning to turn their attention to Sean Payton and give him credit for the job that he's done and all that stuff, man. It's very much a football-oriented Babe Ruth pointing to left field or whatever. Was he right? Pointing to right field? Was he a southpaw? What was he? Scott, was he Southie? He batted left, didn't he? Babe Ruth? So he was going like this. Either way, Zach, it takes some stones to even say Super Bowl in July, let alone say, I think this is one of the handful of Super Bowl caliber teams I've ever coached.
And remember, Sean Payton had a 3-step process for the Broncos. And step 1 was not clinching a postseason berth. Step 1 was winning the division. Step 2 was getting the number 1 seed. And step 3 was winning the Super Bowl trophy. So the Broncos are on step 1, on a step 2 now.
Michaela jumping in again. Thank you, my friend. She says, didn't anyone see the Chargers tarp punching the Texans tight end? So dirty. He should be suspended. Dirty player. I missed that. Yeah. I'm not sure. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Tarp. What's his name? Tart. Is he still on the team?
Tart.
Yeah. So Tart. Right. So Tyre Tart. I'll have to look into that after the show, my brother. Hold on. What's Scott saying? Yeah. Bats left, throws left on Babe Ruth. I don't know. We go all over the place on this podcast, but I missed that, Michaela, unfortunately. So I'll have to circle back to you on that one. And by the way, Shannon just joined.
Thank you, Shannon.
Much love and respect. Zach, grab a comment or two. I just had an idea to do something, but I got to make a text in order for it to happen. So grab whatever sees, like some members or whatever. We're almost out of here. We're about out of time, but there's one thing I want to do real quick.
Well, you mentioned that we go all over the place here. William saying, based on our animal discussion, I get it. I almost drowned 2 times when I was a kid. I don't go near water that is higher than my chest to this day. Everyone had their own experiences, and Bo, as he said, he had a bad experience with a dog. People, Chad, are talking about the comments that Jonathan Cooper made on social media that he's since deleted, saying, F the Chiefs. I'll keep it PG. And then he said they were pansies, in other words. So those comments, those tweets are gone now, but those did come out last night. I don't know what he was doing last night to tweet that. A propros of nothing, by the way, but that's what that was. We have Colin here, 99 Super. Thank you so much, Colin. I thought
we got this one.
Yeah.
We got it. Thank you, Colin, brother. Yeah, he deleted those tweets, and we were going to maybe write it up, but we're like, nah, he deleted it. I honestly, Zach, if this was I don't know if I should even be saying this out loud, but if this was a Broncos team of yesteryear, that has long been, by this point in the season, eliminated from playoff contention, I'm probably writing it up. I'm not writing it up this time just because I don't want to create any, we have a big reach, right? Like when we publish a story, it reaches a lot of people. And so I'm like, nah, do we want additional off the field distractions? The Broncos are going to be facing the Chargers, huge game. I'm not going to lie. That played a part in why I decided, we're not going to cover it.
I'm not going to, I quote tweeted one of Cooper's tweets last night. I deleted it this morning because we don't need that kind of press out there. Obviously, if he deleted them, it means it came down probably from Sean Payton, who wasn't too happy about it, but that's water under the bridge now. And we'll have to see how he plays this weekend.
All right. Hold on. I'm just confirming something here. All right. So guys, we often raffle off jerseys to the Super Chat Superstar community. And we typically do it at least once a month with to the top 10 finishers on Super Chat, which, as I say that right now, Scott, I just realized I don't think we did that in December. We got a makeup coming for the Superstars. So we'll do 2 in January. So in January, when we're doing the December raffle, we'll do the night we do the raffle, the top two, however it shakes out in the raffle, will get a jersey. We'll do that on the first stream of January. I'm looking at a calendar. So that's going to be for us. I'm not sure yet if we're going to stream Zach and I on New Year's Day. Probably we will, but if not that day, it'll be Sunday the 4th that we'll do the official raffles. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away a jersey to one of the dear members who has been just amazing in terms, you heard me mention it earlier, helping us out on Discord, been a longtime supporter, superstar in his own right anyway. I mean, he's been a Super Chat superstar here for years. But David, a.k.a. M. Blex, bro, we're gifting you a jersey in celebration of the Denver Broncos winning the AFC West for the first time since 2015. It's their 16th, by the way. The Chiefs, with those 9 straight or whatever it was, Zach, ended up getting the upper hand, and they now have one more division crown more. Anyway, then the Broncos. They have 17 all time. The Broncos have 16. And I can remember back when I first started getting those game capsules that you guys see us do the head-to-heads on, we would have all this information. And I remember back then, man, the Broncos were leading everybody by long ways, and the Chiefs were down there at like 6 or 7 division championships, and cut to today, and they're at 17. Technically still in the lead all time, but the Broncos are going to surpass them in the next couple of years. Trust on that. But M. Blex, bro, I'll reach out to you. You're getting a jersey, dude. You deserve it.
Yeah, you definitely deserve it. You also have been there for KK and the other VIP shows as well, contributing and always being around the community. So thank you so much. It's a little sign of appreciation from us to you.
Yeah, brother. Stoked and appreciate you guys. We got more and more that we're going to. Hold on. What's he say? What? Okay. Yeah, dude. BNS, bro. We love you. You know this. You go way back, dude. You're an OG. JK bros, love the content. That's good to hear, but we genuinely care about you guys. I hope you know that. Like, people in our community that take care of us, like, we do our best to try and take care of you. I hope you know that, and I hope you feel how important each and every one of you are to us. I mean, not just the superstars, so to speak, the Super Chat superstars, the Mount Rushmore folks, but we launched, Zach, the membership thing about the time of training camp, July at some point, and you guys have blown us away. The amount of support we've gotten. M. Blex signed up right away. BNS, you're a member. You go way back. And he's like, I totally know that. But I just hope you guys know we really do care about you guys and try to genuinely take an interest in you as individuals and try to get to know you as best we can. It's another reason why we do the meet and greet each and every year. So we're getting late in the show, but my point is we love each and every one of you. And we got a few messages for you here before we dip out, and then some shout outs before we go.
Tremendous episode, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle, Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. You can find us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football pre-save 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, whoops, that's not the right one. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
A mile high salute, a special shout out to all the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, dear members, helping us keep the lights on, like the Duchess, Michaela Parker.
Thank you so much.
Multiple supers, including this massive top rope, Papa Bear, Cullen, Shannon, multiple supers, and becoming a member lately. Sam Bam, dude, top rope, Naj, legend. Tucson Phil, legend. David Youngkin, legend. Let's see, Lawrence Rivera checking in, dude. It's been great having you back in the chat. By the way, Sam Bam multiples, I forgot to mention. BNS checking in, bro, and a true OG, like a MHH live stream OG. He goes back. Chaos Josh, the boot boy. Cullen with severals today, man. Love you, buddy. I think I covered everybody. But thank you so much, guys. We will see you. Let's see. Today's Sunday. So Zach and I will see you tomorrow night. I think we'll get hopefully a little, at least a conference call with Sean Payton. So hopefully some news and some different things come out of that. But we'll see. There's a big week, though, guys. So keep it locked with MHH because Broncos-Chargers, it's for all the AFC seeding marbles.
That's right. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow night. Take care. And as always, go Broncos.